Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
An adventure.
Look out! No!
I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
65 million years in the making. Jurassic Park.
Let us now go ahead and get into the movie film. So, I don't know why I'm even asking this question, chat, but I've asked it every time I started a movie review film. How many of you have seen Jurassic Park, the 1993 classic? For myself, chat, I was too young to see this in theaters, but I did see this later on in life as a wee tot chap, probably like 7 years old. Saw this on VHS, parents bought it for me, blew my little 7-year-old mind, had my dinosaur craze face, chat, got all the books in the library about dinosaurs, obsessed them, had dinosaur action figures, watched the movie on repeat over and over and over again. Still to this day, I mean, ever, at least 20 times at least. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in the same boat. Just simply a incredible film, a landmark film. Not only for its CGI, chat, it's groundbreaking CGI effects. There's nothing else like this at the time. Nothing like, and it's still, like, for the most part, is aged very well. There's a few that's like, but for the most part, it's aged very well. And also for its landmark animatronic effects, chat. Like, the animatronics have aged, again, practical effects, guys, they've aged so incredibly well. Like, you can see this, and there's fucking, the animatronics in this movie are better than some films we're getting in right now. It's nuts how good this movie looks. And of course, I mean, just an incredible cast of actors, of characters. Everything from Sam Neill to Jeff Goldblum to Laura Dern to fucking Newman. The guy that plays Muldoon, chat. The lawyer man that gets eaten on the toilet. How funny is that? He's like, oh no! And he gets eaten. It's so great, chat. So many great actors. B.D. Wan, who's in it for about 2 minutes. Samuel Jackson, who's eaten horrifically, chat. He dies off screen, but he definitely dies horribly, chat. An amazing film. And a lot of people thought that way back then because in 1993, chat, this was a critical and cultural phenomenon. Everyone loved this movie. You know, huge critical success, nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards, won a bunch of Academy Awards. I think for every category it was nominated for, it won. All the special effects awards, it won all those. Had a budget, this is crazy, chat. Budget, I can't believe it. It had a budget of $63 million. Like a movie like this nowadays, and you think, oh, it's at least $250 million. $63 million. Not only under 100, but under 75. That is nuts. And during its original theatrical release, chat, it was just shy of $90 million for $1 billion. Made $910 million worldwide. It was the highest grossing film ever at that point until it was finally beat years later, 4 years later, by James Cameron's Titanic. But this was again, Spielberg, who had made a name for himself, creating, along with George Lucas, like the first blockbuster. His was Jaws, Lucas's was Star Wars, and he proved himself again with stuff like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, he did it again in the 90s, Jurassic Park, chat. And again, I adore this film. We're going to get into all the nitty-gritty details, but if you guys have not seen Jurassic Park, please do yourself a favor and check it out. It is absolutely worth it. And what another great thing about this film, chat, is like the original marketing campaign for this movie, they barely showed any of the dinosaurs. Like Steven Spielberg is like, I'm like gonna be intimately involved in this marketing campaign. You're gonna show a few scenes because you have to, fine. But it's shocking how just what's not the right word, reserved, or just like, you know, restrained, how restrained the trailers and marketing are by showcasing by the dinosaur. It relied on the actors' just awe and the tension in some scenes. Again, you got the water in the cup, stuff like that. Like, that's what sold the movie. That people are like, well, I gotta fucking see this and see what fucking Sam Neill's so flabbergasted about. And we got that, Shay. Incredible filmmaking, masterclass. My second favorite Steven Spielberg film of all time. It's right behind Raiders of the Lost Ark, chat, but it's a very close second. But now, chat, we must get into the nitty-gritty details, chat. We have fucking fanfare, Jurassic Park, Tyrannosaurus Rex in the logo. But, chat, we are immediately dropped into a jungle. And we have Mr. Muldoon chewing gum with a whole bunch of red shirts, chat. And they're looking at this fucking metal box that's coming in. They know what's in the metal box, but we as the audience, we have no idea. And good old Muldoon, chat, this Australian man, it's like, you have to take him seriously, chat. You have to, because he's chewing gum, he looks like a badass, and he is wearing the shortest short shorts you've ever seen. So you know this man has an infinite amount of confidence in himself, and you don't question the fact that he is wearing the shortest of shorts. South Africa, Australia, doesn't matter. He's wearing the shortest of short shorts, chat. And no one snickers at him, because he can't, because he's so badass. Everything he says is so goddamn cool, Chad. He's just saying exposition, but it's just like, he's just literally saying things we're seeing on screen, and you're like, that's fucking great. I love this character already. I hope he survives. But, chat, we got this big old fucking crane, and they're lowering this giant metal box into this enclosure. We don't know what it is, but it's serious. He had a whole bunch of red shirts surrounding it. And he's like, Muldoon's like, okay, we'll go up there and lift up the gate so the things inside can run to the enclosure. It's like, what's in there, chat? Is it cheetahs? Is it lions? Is it a dinosaur? Well, we shall soon find out. And so you get this poor guy, chat. Now, I've used this saying a couple times throughout my spoiler review career, chat. And typically, in a movie like this, and a lot of horror films, certainly of this era, chat, you had this was kind of like mandated, I think, by a lot of studios. Typically, chat, in a film, if you're white, you're gonna be all right. But if you're brown, you're going down. And Chad, that's what happens here, because the first victim, sadly, is a black man. And while he's just lifting up this fucking grate, they're velociraptors, Chad. They're velociraptors. They start shaking, and this poor brown man, Chad, he falls down and is like, oh, sweet. How sweet. Fresh meat. And they grab this poor son of a bitch, Chad, and they start pulling him in. And they start gnawing on him. And Muldoon's like, Spielberg does not give a shit. He's like, I don't care. Yes, the first person to die in a movie shall be a black man. I don't give a damn. I'm honoring the stereotype. It's like, wow. And so Muldoon's doing his best, chap, because he goes, just so you know, Muldoon's a good man. Muldoon's a good man here, chap, because he goes for the red shirt, even though at this point he's fucking dead. Because the guy's like, ah! It's kind of almost I think a reference to Jaws in a way. It's like Land Jaws, chat, because the guy's being lifted up, like down and up, down and up, the entire time, just screaming his head off. It reminds me of when the girl's in the water in Jaws, when she's like, help me, help me. She's just being dragged around, and she goes, it's like she's trying to breathe, chap, because she doesn't know what's going on. She's panicking. Same thing with this red shirt brown man. And Muldoon, he goes in there, chat, and he grabs him, and he's like, shoot her, shoot her. And the guy said, we can't shoot her, but that thing's worth like tens of millions of dollars. We can't do that. So they're poking the cattle prods, and the velociraptor's like, I don't give a shit about those. And while poor old Muldoon's saying this, chat, oh, he's losing his grip on the red shirt, and that hand just disappears into the cage, chat. Victim number one to the velociraptors. Human 0, dinosaurs have the up and up, chap. They got the up and up. And now we cut to the jungles of Costa Rica. We're in the jungles of Costa Rica, chat, and we are seeing the lawyer, Gennaro, chat. Gennaro, he is on a makeshift raft being pulled by a vine rope. And you can tell, Ray, this guy should not be here. He's more acclimated to like a air-conditioned office, a solid 72 degrees. He does not need to be in the wilds of Costa Rica, chat. But he represents the investors of Sir Richard Attenborough's dinosaur park, Chad. Jurassic Park, that's the name of the park. And he's going there, and he wants to meet John Hammond. But who does he meet, Chad? Not John Hammond. He meets the leader of this expedition, and they're looking for something for John Hammond. And Gennaro's like, I was expecting to meet John Hammond here. Where the hell is he? He's like, oh, he's gonna be with his daughter. She's going through a divorce right now. He said that we could speak to each other. He's like, listen, I gotta talk to him because his investors are very concerned about what's going on. You had the one red shirt man, you know, his family's suing us for $25 million because he was eating You know how much we got to pay if someone's eating? And he's like, I don't know, man, but you want to come in the cave with me? He's like, sure. And they go in this cave. And Gennaro's just doing all this corporate speak. He's like, listen, that's great and all, but I work for John Hammond. Okay, I'll relay your message. But he's like, listen, I'm going to bring in, Gennaro's like telling him, I'm going to bring in experts like Ian Malcolm, also known as Jeff Goldblum. I'm going to bring in Sam Neill, Dr. Alan Grant, expert paleontologist, Laura Dern, paleobotanist. I'm going to bring them in here, and so they can, go over all the shit you're doing right now, and so everything's on the up and up. I want to make sure that my investors' money's being taken care of, and you're taking all the precautions necessary. And this guy could give a shit less about this. He doesn't care. He's like, oh, you made a poor choice of going after someone like Alan Grant. There's no way he'd want to get involved at all. He's like, why? Because Grant, he's a digger like me. And he's looking at a big old fossilized piece of tree sap jazz called amber. And there's a mosquito inside. It's a little mosquito. And it's like, whoa, what does that mean? We don't know yet, but we shall soon learn, chat. We're introduced to Mr. Dino DNA. But chat, we are now in the wilds of Montana. We're in the wilds of Montana, and we see these poor interns, chat, who are probably heavily in debt because they made the mistake to become paleontologists, which only pays about $25,000 a year. They all share the same studio apartment, chat, about 5 to 6 people, so they're not doing great. But they love dusting the dinosaur bones. They're dusting these bones. They're having a grand old time, chat. Grand old time. And who comes over? Who comes over after Dustin? It is Sam Neill, chat, and Laura Dern, and they're responding to the guy off on the side. He's like, we have it on the computer. And Alan Grant, poor Sam, he was like, I hate computers. I don't like technology. It's hard. And Laura Dern's like, I know. I can reciprocate. I feel the same way. Katie, thank you for the 5 minutes. Just finished cooking dinner in time for the review. Nice. We just saw a brown man die. He's dead. And we also met the lawyer Gennaro, and they bonded over tree sap. And now we're introduced to Alan Grant and Laura Dern. And they don't like computers. They don't like computers at all. And so they go over there, chat. They don't like it. And they're seeing, they fucking shoot something in the ground. This is an x-ray machine. And they go over there. And the guy who's on the computer, he's telling him, now we don't even have to dig him up. And Alan's like, well, where's the fun in that? Well, I want to get dirty. And I want to spend years of my life fucking aging away as we're unearthing these dinosaur bones, only being $25,000 a year, okay? I want to spend time with my family, okay? So fuck off. And so while they're looking at the image, Alan Grant's like, oh, look at this. This is obviously a velociraptor bones. It's a whole full set of velociraptor bones. You look at the skull, look at the hands, look at the talons. And everyone's just amazed by it, like, wow, it's a perfect specimen. And then, chat, you hear this little piece of shit in the background. That doesn't look so scary. And then we turn around to a boy, girl, I don't know. I don't know to this day. No one knows. And it's like, and Alan Grant's like, the fuck did you just say? He's like, it looks like an overgrown turkey. And this little chubby kid, chatty, Alan Grant, he doesn't like kids, and we shall soon learn. He's gonna fuck with him a bit, man. He's gonna torture him. He's like, oh, that's not so scary, huh? Well, let me tell you about velociraptors. See, by the time you see one, you're already dead. Because you're busy, you little chubster. You're busy just look at the one that's right in front of you, about, 30 meters away. But you have the two, you didn't even notice the two are kind of circling in behind you, circling on the side to side. So by the time you look left or look right, they got you. And the thing about velociraptors, thank you, Dark Slayer, for the 5 minutes. This is a prequel to Nightcrawler. I can see that. I hate the damn kid too. He's annoying. And what's so great about Chat is, as Dr. Alan Grant explains, see, the thing is, once they got you on the goddamn ground, Ingenuity, welcome back to the stream. Thank you so much for subscribing 8 months in a row. Now, that is some support, Chat, for you. Yes, thank you, Ingenuity. We shall soon give birth to a beautiful Twitch baby. I can't wait. What name will you pick? I don't know. And so Chetty's saying, so when the Velociraptors, they got you down, the first thing they'll do is they'll fucking gut you. You got a big old tum-tum, so they're going right there. All your insides will become your outsides. And the thing that's fucked up about it, like, they're not going to go for the jugular and kill you quick. They're like a bear. They're going to just start eating you. They're just going to start, like, biting you and ripping off chunks, and they will slowly, intimately eat you alive until you bleed out, and it'll be horrifically painful. And by the time Alan Grant walks away, this kid is just in shock. It's like, goddamn right, that kid's not going to talk any shit to Alan Grant or Laura Dern or any of the interns who are being paid less than $25,000 a year, right? And so Lauren Dern, she's telling, like, why you be so mean to the kid? He's like, I don't like kids. They're annoying. They're loud. They smell. And she's like, they don't smell. It's like, some babies smell. They're children. I don't like babies. And they're arguing about children. And you get the sense, like, they're a couple. Like, they're very much, I mean, they're professionals. There's no doubt about that. But I do like the chemistry between them because they do have some subtle, intimate moments where when they're first introduced to them, like you see, like they're kind of like holding each other really close. I don't know why they abandoned that later in the series. Like, why did she go off and marry some accountant in Jurassic Park 3? It's like, that's bullshit, yeah. I didn't even know that. I like to think they because of this horrific traumatic experience, they're like, okay, let's just start, let's get married, let's have like a bunch of babies, and we'll still dig in dinosaur bones. We can force our kids. You don't have to pay the interns money anymore. We can force our children to dig up the dinosaur bones for us. We never got that, Chad. She just married some accountant schmuck. Or someone who works for the government. And so they're walking back to the trailer to do something. And all of a sudden, Chad, this big old helicopter comes coming in. And it was like, whoa, no, what are you doing? And all this dust is getting kicked up, Chad. And all the dinosaur bones are getting covered with sand again. They're getting damaged. Everyone's like, what the fuck? And Alan Grant, good old Sam Neill, he runs over there. He's like, what are you doing? And the guy just goes, trailer. I was like, what? And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the trailer. And so fucking Sam Neill, Chad, he's pissed. And so he goes into the trailer, Chad. He's like, okay, who the hell are you? And it turns around, Chad, and we are introduced to a wonderful human being, Chad. Sir Richard Attenborough. Very talented director, actor. Looks like fucking Santa Claus. And he is John Hammond, Chad. He is the owner of Jurassic Park, spared no expense. And he introduces himself as like, welcome. He's like, Alan Grant's like, hey, we're going to say that. He has a bottle of champagne. And fucking Sir Richard Attenborough, he just opened it up. He's like, oh, don't worry. This is the special occasion. I am John Hammond. I am the one who's been funding your expeditions for the past, 4 or 5 years. And Sam Neill's like, oh, shit, you're the money. Okay, shit. And Laura Dern comes in. He's like, okay, who's this asshole? And he's like, this is the money, wife. And she's like, oh, shit. But John Hammond pays no mind. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, I know you're mad at me. But here, let me tell you. I need to consult with you two because I am opening a park that is just right up your alley. Spared no goddamn expense in it, by the way. And I need you to come in here and to relay the minds of my investors, their bloodthirsty lawyers. And you are the experts in the fields of paleontology and paleobotany. And it would ease their minds if you come in like, why would you need our help? We study dinosaurs. He's like, yeah, I know. That's why I need you. I have a very particular park that needs your expertise. And they're like, well, listen, we're fucking Montana right now. We're digging up dinosaur bones. We're going to be here all summer. And John Man goes, okay, so if you come with me, I will also pay for your expedition for the next, decade. And they're like, oh, shit, okay, where do we sign? He's like, just get him to play with me right now and come on over. And he's like, awesome. And so they start hugging, Chad. They start smooching. Richard Attenborough, he's just watching, Chad. He's just watching. He's just drinking the whole time. Everyone watches this movie. It's creepy. And it's like, yay, they're going to Jurassic Park. But then, chat, we cut to the mainland of Costa Rica, San Juan, Costa Rica, chat. We're introduced to one of the best characters in the movie, Dodson. Dodson's here, chat. And we see good old Dodson walking over, and we see the mass known as Newman, chat. And he's enjoying a very large breakfast. Good for him. He works very hard every day. And Dodson, he's looking over. He's like trying to find Newman. Newman's like, I'm over here, Dodson. I'm over here. Come here. And Dodson walks over. He's like, I wish you wouldn't say my name. And I love this. It kills me every time. Newman's like looking around. It's like, hey, everyone, it's Dodson. Dodson's here. It's like, nobody cares. Take it easy, all right? And the thing is, chat, Newman, he is one of the computer experts that works at Jurassic Park, but he's not a nice guy. He wants to be paid the moolah right now, and John Hammond, he's not coughing up the dough. And so Dodson, who works for a competing company who wants to create their own Jurassic Park, their own dinosaur-themed theme park, chat, they've hired Newman to infiltrate, to steal the various embryos of the dinosaurs that they have stored at Jurassic Park, and then Newman will leave the island to give it to the company, and they'll pay him like $2 million, and Newman, he's so happy, chat, because he gets like half the money already. He's like, oh, he's just so happy, he's jiggling everywhere, it's a good time, and he's like, okay, how the hell am I going to get the embryos off the island? He's like, I have it for you, man. Fucking Barbasol can, chat, shaving cream. He's like, what? And he's like, here, you unscrew the lid, you put the little suckers in there, you screw it back on, you can take it through customs, and here's the best part. Fucking actually splurts out, chat, sprays out shaving cream. And then Newman does something that's really shitty, chat. He, like, puts out his hand, and he puts out, like, a piece of pie behind it. It was like, someone's gonna eat that! Someone's gonna eat that, chat. That's bad. They might die from that. Newman doesn't care. That, to me, I realize Newman's a bad person. Yes, the fact that he's selling company secrets and betraying Santa Claus, a.k.a. John Hammond, but the fact that he would put shaving cream on a piece of what looked like cherry pie, chat, evil. Terrible. I would have liked that cherry pie. It was very crappy of him. And so he's excited. He can't wait. And like, but Dodson tells him, like, listen, how are you gonna do this? He's like, don't worry, man, I'm a hacker. All right, I have an 18-minute window. All the systems will shut down. All the cameras will shut down. I'll waddle in there, get you a good old Tyrannosaurus Rex embryo, Stegosaurus, Tricer, all the big ones. You'll get them. But you make sure your guy at the dock is there. He's like, he should be. So just show up there. He's like, okay, good. And then the fucking guy, the check comes. He's like, don't get cheap on me, Dodson. And Dodson has to pay for the lavish breakfast that Newman has just consumed, chat, that is added to his mass. And now, chat, we're in a helicopter. And we're introduced to one of cinema's greatest characters of all time, chat, Jeff Goldblum. I'm not saying Ian Malcolm. I'm saying Jeff Goldblum, chat. Because Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's character of Ian Malcolm is Jeff Goldblum today. That's the same person. He's evolved into that character. And I love it. The first interaction between Jeff Goldblum and any of the main characters it's peak Goldblumisms, chat. Because he's staring at Sam Neill's like, what do you two? Do you dig up dinosaurs? And then Sam Neill goes, we try to. And then we get one of the best laughs of all time. And everyone's just looking at him like, okay, what the fuck's going on? And Steven Spielberg's like, just keep filming, this is gold. This will be perfect. And the same way in every film that Jeff Goldblum is in, chat, when he is on screen, it's not Jurassic Park anymore. It's the Jeff Goldblum movie. That's what we're watching. That's what we're watching together and experiencing it, and it is a joy. And you already get the dynamic. Gennaro, he has hired Jeff Goldblum. He's a mathematician, a philosopher, a man of many trades. He's coming in here. He's an expert on chaos theory, and he's come there to represent Gennaro's investors. And you can already tell that John Hammond just does not like the cut of Jeff Goldblum's jib chat. He doesn't like him. He doesn't like it because he talks back to John Hammond. He's sarcastic. Ooh, and John Hammond, he doesn't like that. And so they're having their discussion. And eventually, like, the helicopter's about to land. They're like, all right, we gotta buckle up, everybody. It's a rough landing. Everyone buckles up, but fucking Sam Neill, he can't buckle up. Sam Neill's terrible technology, chat, including technology that's existed for, 100 years, because he struggles with, I have the female parts, it makes sense, chat, 2 female parts of the seat belt buckle. I was like, that's clever for the later on in the movie. And he's like, oh, he fucking ties them together, and he's good, chat. Life finds a way. And he got there, they land, and they get out of the helicopter, chat, and it's beautiful. They're on the island in Costa Rica, chat, a little island off of Costa Rica that John Hammond has leased from the Costa Rican government, and it's looking great. The helicopter pad looks good, waterfall, excellent. And he's like, come on, guys, get in the car. They all get in the various Jeeps, they're having a good time. And Gennaro, he's just talking to John Hammond. He's like saying, listen, the investors are very scared about what happened. Yeah, that poor red shirt that died in the first half of the film, we got to pay him $25 million. Everyone's concerned. Like, I'll shut you down, John, okay? I'll shut you down. And John Hammond's like, you know what? At the end of this trip, you'll be the one who's apologizing to me. He's like, yeah, we'll see. And so they're driving up there, chat. We don't know where they're going. And then they park over this little hill. And all we see, chat, all we see is, it is brilliant how they set this up. Because we have not seen a single dinosaur in this part of the movie. We've heard a dinosaur. We've seen the eyeball of a dinosaur. We have not seen a dinosaur. But the way that they convey a person seeing a dinosaur for the first time is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because all we see is their expressions at first. And Sam Neill turning his head, and Jeff Goldblum right behind him just going, what the fuck? And Sam Neill, like, standing up in the Jeep, takes his hat off, takes his glasses off, and he's shaking. He's wide-eyed. He can't believe it. And Laura Dern, she's reading, like, this fucking leaf map, and she's like, I don't understand the plants on here. And Sam Neill just grabs her head and just turns it, and she goes, holy shit. Oh my God, everyone just gets out of the car, chat. They all just start moving forward. And then we fucking see it. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. It's a giant dinosaur, chat. It's a brachiosaurus, and it's beautiful. This thing just walking around, and Sam Neill, he's just crying, chat. We were all Sam Neill at that moment. It's dinosaurs, chat. We were all crying. We just couldn't believe it. We just couldn't believe what we were seeing. And Laura Dern, she's like, oh my God. And like Sam Neill, he's just, I can't do it. I can't do it. John Hammond sells it. Richard Attenborough sells it, Che. He's like, my Dr. Grant, my dear Dr. Sadler, welcome, Jurassic Park. And it's like, oh! And then we see the lake, chat. We see the brachiosauruses, the fucking ducky dinosaurs, the ankyosauruses, they're all drinking. And Sam Neill's like, oh my God, they do move in herds. They do move in herds. They do. And John Hammond's like, oh yeah, we also got a T-Rex. You got a T-Rex? And James like, oh my God, Jesus. Yeah, it runs like 35 miles per hour. We should know that for later. And it's crazy. And like they're all sitting in a little group. Fucking Jeff Goldblum's like, the crazy son of a bitch did it. Holy shit. Gennaro's like, we're gonna make so much fucking money. Oh, he's so excited. He did change his mind, chat, with a 180-degree fucking turn with him. And Sam Neill, he's just sitting there, just tears in his eyes. He's like, how did you do this? And, you know, oh God. John Hammond says, I'll show you. And now, chat, we're cutting back to the park. We're cutting back to, I guess, the hub area. And we're seeing that they're all putting together. John Hammond, he's going over all of his spiel. Is like, yeah, we have all this like new rides we're putting together. The park will hopefully, in a couple of years' time, will have all the attractions that we need. But for now, I'm just going to show you like kind of like the big ones that we have right now. He's very excited about this. And Sam Neill just goes, we're out of the goddamn job at this point. Like, we're not needed anymore. And Jeff Goldblum, who is just a sarcastic son of a bitch, he just says, don't you mean extinct? It's like, ooh, you son of a bitch. That's a good line, though, Jeff Goldblum. And so eventually, John Hammond, he leads them to, like, basically it's like a universal ride, chat. It's like a visual novel ride where it's like, all right, sit down, everybody, you're going to get a little documentary. It's like you expect to see something at Disney World or something. And we see another version of John Hammond, chat. It's movie version John Hammond. He's in a little screen. And, John Hammond's like, oh, shit, I have lines. Oh, yeah, I have to interact with my movie version of myself. And he's like, John, how is all this amazing stuff possible that you did? He's like, oh, well, it's simple. Please, give me your hand. He's like, okay. Fucking, and he stabs his hand. She's like, he's bleeding everywhere. And he's like, I did it with just a drop of your blood. And Chad, we're introduced to one of the most iconic animated characters of all time. He's up there with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Mickey Mouse, Mr. Dino DNA. Mr. DNA, chat. And he's like, I will take you on a journey to explain how we created monsters. These are dinosaurs, Chad. As we learned in this whimsical documentary, they didn't create dinosaurs. They created monsters. That's what they did. Do you see these dinosaurs having feathers? No. And Dino DNA explains, yeah, fucking DNA. It's the building blocks of life. It features millions and millions and millions of lines of code to create a individual, a person, a being. And how we got the dino DNA, we found amber. We found crystallized tree sap that contained mosquitoes. And these mosquitoes, millions of years ago, they would bite a dinosaur, they get stuck in the tree sap, that would fossilize amber. And so we then extracted the mosquitoes' blood from the amber, and bingo, dino DNA. But the thing is, though, so not all the DNA chains had everything that we needed, so we just fucking started adding shit. It's like, what? We just, we took a frog of, I think it was like an African bullfrog or something. Yeah, we took that, and we just put in the dinosaur DNA, and bingo, dinosaur. And they're like, what the hell? And while they're going on this ride, we're seeing all like how the park operates. We see the laboratory where they're fucking turning the eggs and shit. Everyone's like, whoa, I want to go in that room. And they get to the computer room where Newman lives, and he's like, look, it's Newman. But they don't give a shit about Newman, chat. They want to go to where BD Wan is right now, chat. But I love it. I love that this movie clearly emphasizes, like, these aren't actual dinosaurs. These are literal monsters, okay? Like, the dinosaurs that we know, and the movie didn't, I mean, the filmmakers didn't know at this time. No one did. People speculate there were some dinosaurs that had feathers, but now that we know, most of the two-legged dinosaurs, like T-Rex, all those other types, Dilophosaurs, they all had feathers, chap. Again, being related to birds. But these things, these are just mutations because the frog DNA has just fucked them all up. And so you're dealing with just abominations. It's like, okay, this is it's a horror film. It's a horror film at this point. And so like, we want to stop the ride. And when they stop the ride, Chad Gannero's like, are these people autoerotic? They're no, it's animatronic, you dumbass, but it's fine. And they get up there, Chad, and they go in the laboratory. And BD-1's there. And this is long before we thought BD-1 was the brains behind the evilness of Jurassic Park, Chad. He was evil. They should have got him in there in that movie, but they didn't, Chad. He went on to create the Indominus Rex, and I assume other horrible things in the sequels. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to die in the next one. I would not be surprised if he does die. But he's like, oh, John, you're here. The fucking egg's about to hatch. He's like, oh, I've always telling you, BD-1, to bring me in here when they're about to hatch, and they're turning the eggs. And again, we see the miracle of life, Chad. We see birth happen. And this little, and I love it. And John Hammond, fucking Sir Richard Attenborough, he sells this shit. And he's like, come on. There you go. Come on. It's like this little animatronic does it, breaking through the egg. It's like, oh, it's so cute. He puts it off. He's like, oh, yeah, I always want to be here for the birth of every creature on this island, because the first thing they see the imprint on, it's like, oh, that's sweet. You should have had John Hammond out there, Chad. He could have stopped the T-Rex from eating everybody. He could have stopped the Velociraptors from eating everybody. If we had John Hammond there going out, he would like, oh, my babies, and they wouldn't have attacked yet. They would have loved him like their mother. But plot hole number one. And so they're looking at these things, and at this point, Jeff Goldblum's like, this is fucked up what you guys are doing. Because then he started asking questions. So, how do you control? So, yeah, you say that you could control the breeding in this laboratory, but how do you control the breeding that goes out inside the park? He's like, BD-1's like, all the dinosaurs on Jurassic Park are female, so they're not breeding. And Jeff Goldblum's like, yeah, but, you know, life finds a way. He's like, are you saying that females will eventually breed? He's just like, I'm just saying, motherfucker, life, finds a way. And he introduces some skepticism, chat. Jeff Goldblum, he's not wowed. He's not convinced by this whole charade here. He's like, I see a number of issues, and I may not know that you had frog DNA. They could change sex and shit like that, but this, I don't like this. I have a bad feeling about this, guys. Oh, thank you. Be right back with Vol. You're my new Huckleberry. Hope you're doing very well tonight. So, chat, and Alan Grant, he's holding this little baby dinosaur. He's like, what species is this? And John Hammond goes, oh, it's a velociraptor. And Alan Grant's like, oh, shit. And then, chat, we go outside. We're outside in the raptor enclosure where the red shirt brown man died. He got eaten, chat. He's still in there, probably. He's not doing too good. Hopefully the family got $25 million, but he's probably dead. So they're out there, chat, and they're like, Sam Neill wants to know what the hell's going on. And he's like, he's at the raptor enclosure, and they see this giant cow being lowered in. And he's asking, like, what's going on? And John Hammond says, in the most sincere, merry way, says, oh, it's feeding time. It's just like, are you crazy? He's so excited about it. And they all go up there, and they lower this poor cow in there, and they just rip this thing to shreds. You don't see the velociraptors, chat. You just hear the wails of this cow. F for the cow, chat. Can we get some RIPs for this cow right now? Because it gets eaten. And they're like, fuck. And then eventually, I love it, Muldoon, remember Short Shorts guy who tried to save the red shirt? But he failed, sadly, chat. He walks up, still wearing the same pair of short shorts, chat. And he's like, they should all be destroyed. It's like, listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. And he's like, John Hammond's like, oh, that's Mr. Muldoon. He's always so much drama with him. It's like, you should probably listen to him. And Sam Neill's like, okay, so you've been taking care of the raptors. He's like, yeah, I've been taking care of them. And they're fucking lethal. And he's like, at what age? And like, they're lethal at about 8 weeks. All right, I mean fucking lethal. And Samuel's like, so how fast do they run? Cheetah speed. And they're hell of a jumpers too. And John Hammond says he's always trying to undercut Muldoon. Say, yes, but we have all the precautions in place. And Muldoon, he keeps talking. He's telling the people what they need to know. And he's saying, yeah. And the worst thing about it is they're thinkers. They're smart. Originally we had about 6 of them. Then we introduced a 7th one, the big girl. We put her in there, and she killed all but 2. And she's had herself and the other 2 attacking certain places in the fence to test for weaknesses. They remember. And John Hammond's like, oh, we don't need to talk about it. It's fine. Who wants lunch? And then, chat, you see the fucking remains of the cow being lifted in the air. Everyone goes, ugh. And we cut to the little lunchroom, chat. And Laura Dern, she does not want any Chilean sea bass. That looks good, though. I'd probably eat that Chilean sea bass. And Ian Malcolm's like, John Hammond's going all about this. Like, oh, we're going to have these rides in the park and things. Gennaro's like, we can charge anything we want. We can charge $2,000 a day, $10,000 a day, and people will pay. And John Hammond, he cuts him off. He's like, listen, I just don't want this park to be for the super rich, okay? I want every person from every walk of life to be able to experience Jurassic Park. And Nero's like, oh, we'll have a coupon day. I can be in charge of coupons. And Jeff Goldman's like, I gotta object here for the bullshit that's going on right now. It's like the arrogance at play here about the gravity and seriousness of nature is shocking. I am astounded. And he's like, what are you complaining about? He's like, you are fucking with creatures that died 65 million years ago, okay? And suddenly you're treating this, you had this technology, but you never took the time to treat it seriously. You never took the time to earn it. So the conversation is passed on now. Fucking John Hammond, he's asking, all right, well, fucking Dr. Sadler, clearly you can appreciate what I'm doing here. And she's saying, well, listen, I'm a paleobotanist, and you got like poisonous plants in your building and all the way across this island, and you're mixing like plant life with organisms that they were not exposed to millions of years ago, and we have no idea what kind of ecological effects that they'll have by. And she's like, they like the plants, they're pretty. Dr. Grant, you're my last hope here, my last hope. Sell him. He's like, Dr. Grant's like, listen, what you've done is amazing, but you have thrust humans and dinosaurs together in the same time period. 2 species that have been separated from tens of millions of years of evolution. And I don't know what that means or what could possibly happen with that, but it could lead to some really negative and horrific repercussions. And John Hammond's like, I can't believe it. Of all the people on my side, it's the blood-sucking lawyer. Gennaro's like, thank you, clearly. And then this little toady just, he walks up to John Hammond, and he's like, whisper. And he's like, yes, they're here. And Chad, he takes it, like, fuck your fish, come with me. And they don't even eat their meals. And so he leads them out there, Chad, he leads them to the front of the main hub, and we see 2 precocious tykes, Chad. We meet his grandchildren, whose names I forget. What's his name's, Chad? Lex and Timmy. Little Timmy and Lex, Chad. And they're like, Grandpa! And they're like, kids! And, they tackle him to the ground. Chad's like, my knee! He's already got a fucked up bum leg, Chad. These kids are just tackling him. And they're like, oh, we love you, Grandpa. And Alan's just like, bleh. And even... like, everyone thinks that, like, Sam Neill hates kids, but look at Jeff Goldblum's expression. He's like, he doesn't like these kids either. Laura Dern's like, oh, they're so cute, I love them. And then eventually John Hyman's like, okay, so you're gonna go on these electronic cars, fully automated, spared no expense, and you're gonna see our main attraction. You're gonna see dinosaurs in the wild, all sorts of kinds of dinos and stuff. And so have fun. And he goes inside to meet with Sam Jackson and Newman. He's having a good time, Chad. And little Tim, the only thing he wants to do, Chad, is just spend time with Sam Neill. And Sam Neill, I hate smelly children. And like every time Tim and Sam are in a car. He just like, I gotta leave. He gets out, and until the point where Sam Neill's asking him, okay, can you tell me which car you're gonna be going in? He's like, whichever one you're in, sir. He's like, fuck. And so eventually he goes in one car chat with the lawyer, and then Tim, he won't shut up. He's like talking about the dinos, and I remember in your book, like you said the dinos died out because of like cold stuff, and then I read another book, and it was because a giant meteor hit around Mexico, and and all the dinos died because of that. And Samuel just, he just slams the door in his face. And he walks away. And then he's confronted by the older one, chat, Lex the hacker. And he's like, what do you want, smelly child? And she goes, the pretty lady told me that I should ride with you. And she said it'd be good for you. And he's like, oh, you Laura Dern. But she goes with her brother anyway, chat. And so Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum, they're in one car, and the lawyer, Gennaro, and the two kids, they're another. And yay, they're off, chat. They're off on their little adventure. We cut to the computer room. We're introduced to Sam Jackson, chat. He's having a good time. He's bopping and booping on the things. And he's like, here you go, off in the park. And they come to the big old doors, chat. Jurassic Park in the front, and they go through those doors, and Jeff Goldblum has the comment, what are they keeping in there? King Kong? And they go in there, chat, and they're like, oh, they're going to see all the dinos. They're so excited. But then, chat, we cut back to the office again, and Newman, he's just mad. He's like, because they're asking Newman to do all this stuff. He's like, listen, if you paid me more, I could probably do it faster. And John Mann's like, I don't want to hear it, Newman, okay? I don't want to hear it. Just please do what I'm paying you to do, which is substantial. I don't want to hear about your money woes right now. He's like, okay, thanks, Dad, and all that shit. And Muldoon's just like, shut the fuck up, stop talking. Eventually, chat, like the first part of the toll, they stop near the Dilophosauruses, and they're like, oh, Dilophosaurus, you know, it's a fucking velociraptor, except it's got, it spits splooge at you, all the splooge, and the splooge spitting down, everyone's like, whoa, it's splooge. And they look outside, but they don't see no splooge spit. They don't see the dinosaur anywhere, Chad. And they're like, ah, damn it, no splooge spit. And, you know, Newman's saying, like, you can't, and that's the thing. Jeff Goldblum, he starts talking. He's like, yeah, you can't control when these things are going to be coming out and stuff. You can't, like, mandate when the dinosaur's going to walk by the car. You have no control over that. That's chaos. That is chaos incarnate right now. There you go. And he goes on about his theory. You know, eventually he gets to the chaos theory later on. And he's like, damn it. And so eventually, while Newman and John Hammond and Samuel Jackson are all arguing shit, Muldoon, he just narrates what he sees. And he says, everyone shut up. I'm coming to the Tyrannosaurus paddock. And they get to the Tyrannosaurus paddock, Chad, and they stop by, but no Tyrannosaurus Rex at all. And John Hammond's like, bring out the goat! And they just fucking bring out this goat, like a la Temple of Doom sacrifice, chat. And Lex is like, what are they gonna do with the goat? What's going to happen with the goat? And the Gennaro's like, well, what's the matter, kid? You ever eat lamb chops before? And she's like, I happen to be a vegetarian. And little Timmy, he's a serial killer to make. He's like, yes, blood, murder, yes. Oh, I'm so excited. But the T-Rex never comes. And then we get some, some facts that were believed at the time, chat, of how T-Rex operated in the primeval wilds back in the day, chat, a couple, tens of millions of years ago. And he said, T-Rex doesn't want to scavenge, it wants to hunt. But we now know that T-Rex actually was a scavenger and was not a hunter. But we didn't know that in 1993. Chat, he was working with what he had. Chat. But eventually, no T-Rex shows up and he goes, fuck, keep the tour going. Also, the computer room, they're saying, like, we got, like, a fucking hurricane coming towards us. Probably not great to have established a park in the Caribbean, Costa Rica, when it's, like, usually hit by, like, 4 months of hurricanes. That's usually not good. Everyone's like, fuck, so hopefully it doesn't hit us. In the meantime, we gotta start to get people off the islands. Like, the last boats are leaving. Newman's like, fuck no, I need those boats. I can get my ass out of here. And so eventually, they keep moving around. They keep good. No dinosaurs. No one seeing anything. And they're all bored. And Ian Malcolm, he's going on about, that's the thing. That's great. That's a great line. He's like tap on the camera in the car. He's like, there's actually going to be dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Right? Hello? And John Hammond's just like, I really hate that man. He hates him, Chad. He despises him. He's so mean. And so hold the boats, gotta hold the boats. Absolutely. And so they're driving out, and Ian Malcolm, he's going on about, like, you just can't control these things. That's chaos incarnate. And Laura Dern, she's like, okay, what is it about this chaos theory? He's like, let you never know what chaos theory. And he's just hitting on her, chat, right in front of Sam Neill. And he's like touching her hand and like touching her hair. It's like, that's probably shouldn't do that, but she doesn't give a shit. She's like, she is just transfixed on the Goldblum, chat. And who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be, in all honesty? You know? I tell you that, chat. And she's like, explain this chaos theory to me. She's like, I will. And he did, like, give me that glass of water there. He's like, okay. Butterfly effect. I'm gonna put this little drop of water, and so you have to predict like which way is it gonna fall. And he does that, chat, and it falls one way. He's like, okay, so it fell that way. So I'm gonna do it again. You think it's gonna fall the same way? She goes, sure, whatever. He goes, yeah. Oh, it falls the opposite way. And that, in its sense, is chaos theory. There are slight variations in your skin that dictate a pattern. It could be anything, anytime. Butterfly effect, like a fucking moth flaps at wings, butterfly flaps at wings in New York City. That will cause a thunderstorm in Puerto Rico. It's like anything can happen. She's like, that's nuts. He's like, right? And Sam Neill, he's like, I'm done. You hitting my girlfriend. I hear something howling, moaning outside, and he jumps out of the car. And he's like, look at that. That's chaos theory right there. Who would have expected that? Sam Neill would have jumped out of the car. And Laura Dern chases after him. And he looked like chaos theory again. Right there in front of me. Laura Dern jumps out of the car, and now I'm here talking to myself. And eventually he jumps out. All the kids get out there. The lawyer gets out there, and they don't know what's going on, chat. And they come upon it, chat. A beautiful animatronic Triceratops. Oh, it's not doing too well, chat. It's dying. It's sickly, and everyone's like, whoa. And they got this other guy here who I think was like I think he was a friend of Spielberg's. He's someone important who worked on this movie too, but he's there and he's taking care of the Triceratops, and he's like, they're like, what happened to it? It's like, it happens every 5 to 6 weeks. She's always getting sick, and we get that epic scene of Sam Neill like on its chest, and like the chest open, like she breathes in, and he's like, whoa! It's like it's amazing effect. He's going like, oh, Triceratops is always my favorite. Laura Dern's like, so what's happening? Is it because of her diet? He's like, we don't think so. And she's like, well, there's like poisonous plants right here. Are you sure she's not eating these? I don't think so. And she's like, well, you know what? To know for certain what's ailing this sickly Triceratops, I must look at its poo-poo. Where is its fecal matter? And he goes, right over here. In chat, we are introduced to a giant fucking pyramid of poo-poo. And as Jeff Goldblum says it, sums it up perfectly, that's a whole lot of shit. And we see Laura Dern fucking elbow deep in dino doo-doo, chat. She's going in there and she's like, nope, nothing in there. And she's just thinking to herself, she just doesn't understand. And, Jeff Goldblum, apparently this gets him hot. He's got a bit of a scat fetish. And he asks, Sam Neill, is like, so is Dr. Sadler single? And he goes, no. We're together, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And eventually they're all like, we got to go back. Gennaro, he starts freaking out because the hurricane is coming. It's lightning and thunder. He's like, well, I think we should go back to the Jeeps and go back to the hub. Everyone's like, all right, we're coming. But Laura Dern, she says, I want to stay a moment with the sickly Triceratops. And Al Grant's like, sure you want to stay with the Triceratops? He's like, I'm going to stay with it. I'll ride back at this guy to the main hub. I'll see you back there. And he's like, cool. As everyone loads back into Jeep's, chat. And then we cut to the computer room. Oh, and Newman, chat, the plan's about to unfold. And he has no fucking subtlety. Don't ask Newman to lie, chat, because he would fuck it up royally. He almost does, too. And he's like about to... I love it. We get a scene, because everyone's getting on the boats right now. And he's contacted by his contact. He's like, we're holding the boat for you, but we can only do it for 15 minutes. He's like, but I was promised an 18-minute window. He's like, well, fuck, there's fucking hurricane, man. No one can predict this shit. And he's like, you get here or you don't. And he's like, shit. And I love it, too, because the video, like, the thing he's watching is actually a video. Because people didn't understand computers back then. And you see, like, the video timer, like, go down all the way to when it finally finishes. It's really funny. And he's like, all right, it's time to fucking enact Super Newman evil plan. And so he's asking, hey, does anyone like a fucking Butterfinger or Snickers or some pretzels, some honey-coated pretzels, anybody? And everyone's like, what the fuck you want? And like, or some soda. He's like, I'm gonna go get some soda from the concession stands. Everyone wants anything, let me know. And that chat, also, by the way, I debugged the system, so some things might be turning on and off. But it's okay. It's going to come back on like about 20 minutes or so. It's just, security cameras might go off, gates might unlock, the entire park might shut down. But it's okay. It'll be back online soon. And he bops and boops, chat. He gets the timer going. And then we see Newman hustle. We see that Newman hustle, chat. And he waits till the camera shut down. He's like, woo! And he goes in there, chat, and he starts taking that dino DNA. He starts getting all that shit, parting the Barbasol can, fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex, Stegosaurus, Velociraptor, chat, Spinosaurus is in there. I don't know if he took it, but Spinosaurus is in there too. All sorts of dino DNAs. He takes the chat, fucking closes it, and he's like, oh, Newman's got to get going. He goes off, chat. And eventually, because everyone's like, oh, Samuel Jackson's like, that's fucking weird. Like, the security cameras all went down, and John Hammond's like, well, Newman said they'll go on and off for a little bit, so 20 minutes, so yeah, we'll wait till he comes back. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so, eventually, chat, we cut back to the vehicles, and, like, the screen shut down, like, the little computer screens, the CD-ROM that Lex was so excited. I was like, what's going on? And we get, like, a talk between Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum. I think it's Sadler or something. Yeah, that's what the relationship talk happened. He's like, yeah, she's dating me. And Jeff Goldblum was like, I just didn't know. We also learned that Jeff Goldblum has 3 children with 3 different women. He's like, he gets around. Always looking for the future ex-Mrs. Ian Malcolm, which I thought was a very good line. Eventually the cars just stopped. They're like, oh, what the fuck happened? What happened? And I'm like, we just stopped. And that was weird. And, even like they cut to the computer lab and like the car stopped. And they're like, well, maybe it's the storm. Maybe it's because the system shut down. And like John Hammond's like, oh, we got to get fucking Nedry back, fucking Newman, and see what the hell's going on right now. And he's like, well, where the hell is Newman? And we see Newman Chen. He's taking off. He's in a big old Jeep, and he's trying to get down the dock to the last boat as quickly as possible, Chad. He's not sparing no expense, all right? He's going as fast as he can, smashes into a goddamn sign that shows him the direction of the dock. He's like, fuck, I don't know what direction to go. He goes in another direction, Chad. We don't know. Was that towards the docks? We don't know. Eventually, we cut back to the group. And little Timmy, he has found very expensive night vision goggles that the lawyer said, put away, they're heavy, and that means they're expensive. And Tim goes, you're not my dad! And he starts messing with him, Chad. He's looking at the goat in the darkness. The goat's been out there for like 12 hours, just like, oh, fuck, what am I gonna do? And he's looking at it, talking of his sister. And he looks back, and he's like, huh, goat's gone. What happened to the goat? And then, Chad, we fucking hear it. We fucking hear it. Boom. Boom. And he looks at the water, and everyone's just like, what the fuck was that? And everyone looks at it, and it's brilliant. It's such a cool effect that just signifies impending fucking danger. It doesn't cost anything. And they all look around. That's when they look. It's like, oh, the goat's gone. What happened to the goat? And everyone's like, huh. And then the fucking goat's leg, this bloodied, ripped apart goat's leg, falls on top of the kid's car with the lawyer. And they're like, holy shit. And then, Chad, we see the little fucking little hand of the T-Rex. It's going, ah. And then we see it all its glory, Chad. It's eating the goat. Everyone's like, holy shit. And Gennaro, he loses his shit. He's like, oh! And he just gets out. He's like, locks the doors, the kid's in. He just fucking hightails it, Chad. He's got a Tom Cruise run just going over there and goes in the bathroom. He probably shits himself and completely, Chad. That was not a good tasty snack of the T-Rex later on in the next 5 minutes. And the kids are like, oh my God. And since all the electricity's down, the T-Rex, it's amazing. It breaks through the barrier, Chad, usually 10,000 volts. I was like, oh, this is fucking easy. It breaks right through it, Chad. And then this is the part of the CGI that has aged the most. CGI typically looks better in very dark scenes in nighttime, and this is a perfect showcase. The T-Rex CGI holds up to this day, and this thing fucking gets, and they cut between the CGI and the animatronic, and it's all brilliant and beautiful looking. It cuts through, and everyone's like, oh my God. And Sam Neill, he's telling Jeff Goldblum, like, listen, this thing's fucking vision is based on movement. We don't move. We should be okay. And at first it goes over the fucking Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum kind of nudges the car a little bit. It's like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What's inside there? Nothing good. But then the dumb kids, they're like, we're kids, we don't know what we're doing. And they fucking get a flashlight out and start fucking flashing everywhere, just waving around. T-Rex goes, what's that? And it starts lumbering over there. And these kids are like, turn it off. And then another brilliant effect where they had the door open and the lawyer left open. And they're like, oh, little Timmy's like, shit. And he closed the door, and we get that great reaction shot. The T-Rex going, like, looking at what just happened because he saw that little movement. And he looks down, and Lex is like, and he holds the light, and the T-Rex's pupil dilates. Oh, it's brilliant. And the T-Rex goes, there's fucking food in there. I'm going to get the food. And he just starts fucking bashing the thing with his head. And it gets like, they're all scared. And Samuel's like, ah, shit, that's not good. That's not good. Jeff Goldblum's like, ugh, that's not good either. And they're like, and then the Lex and Tim are arguing. It's like, turn out the flashlight, turn out the flash. And then it's like quiet, and they look up, and the T-Rex's head just comes right fucking down through the moonroof, chat. And oh my god, it's horrifying. And they're literally holding this piece of glass. It's the one thing that's blocking the T-Rex from just eating them, and it's slipping and sliding because it's wet. It's like trying to get at the kids, and they're all fucking screaming. T-Rex like, that's hard, and he just fucking fucks it, and he bashes the car over. And Lex and Tim are just they're just screaming their heads off. Fucking mud and water is coming through the top of the car. Check has been knocked over, and they're drowning in this muck. And Samuel's like, fuck, and he goes out there. Chase like, I gotta distract the T-Rex. And he takes a little, what is it, God damn it, Chad. The fucking, not flyer, a, flare, Chad, it's a flare. He goes, boom, he's like, hey, he's like, he goes, hey, and he's like waving around and shit. And Derek's just like, what's that? And he's like, and he goes, wow! And T-Rex goes, whoa, that was cool. He's like, where would that go? And then Ian Malcolm wants to be the big bad hero. He just goes, hey, come over here. He's like, Ian, freeze! And he's like, get the kids, which, by the way, chat, was not in the original script. Originally, Spielberg wanted Ian Malcolm to be more of a selfish character, but Goldblum realized this is going to be one of the most iconic people I ever play in my career, and I want to make him not only smarmy and charming as fuck, but people are going to love me because I'm going to sacrifice myself for Alan Grant and the kids. And so then we just see Jeff Goldblum just going, oh, he's just running, Chad, and this thing's coming after him. He's like, oh, fuck. He throws it. It's like, oh, it's still coming after me. Oh, Jesus. And the T-Rex, and meanwhile, cut to the bathroom. Gennaro's like, ah! And the T-Rex tries to go for Ian Malcolm. What happens is, he tries to go for Ian Malcolm, but he comes up and he hits him instead, and so he throws Jeff Goldblum up in the air, and he comes crashing down. He's buried in the rubble of the bathroom. And then the last thing that's standing in the bathroom is Gennaro on the toilet going, and the T-Rex is like, food. And just eats the lawyer, Chad. He eats greedy Gennaro, and he's done. Meanwhile, we cut back to the car that has been toppled. Alan Grant's trying to get the kids out of there. He grabs Lexi. He goes, come out of here, girl. He gets her out. And he's trying to get Tim. And then we get in my opinion, one of the best screams in film history. I don't forget this girl who plays Lex. Ariana Richards does a fantastic job screaming here. She just cocks her. She sees, cocks her, goes, ah! Alan goes, shit, shut up, shit. Don't move it, it can't see us. And then we get them, the Lex screaming is great. It's so fucking good. And we get the T-Rex just like inches away from them, just inches, and just looking at him. They can't see him. Breathes on him, knocks down. Alan Grant's hat is also a casualty, Chet. We never see the hat again. It's knocked away. It's gone. It's gone. No, I know about this. Andy. The full-size animatronic was 18 feet and 38 feet long. It truly was a monumental task for Sam Winston and the team. They have a year to make it. 3 months alone for the sculpting. They didn't make it for a while. Yep. I read the documentary. It kept shaking. They kept having to stop and dry it up because it would jiggle and shit. Yeah. 9,000 pounds. It absorbed the water and skin. Oh, no, I watched the documentary obsessively, man. It's good stuff. And so they're like, fuck. But the thing is, like, all this is happening, and T-Rex goes, well, there's nothing there. And it's like, there's food inside there, though. And he goes, he keeps trying to hit the car. And, like, Sam Neill and Lex, they have to move with the car, too. So they eventually end up, like, behind it. And then we get one of the big continuity errors in the movie. It's like, damn, it's like, I love this film, but this is a significant continuity error. So we are at the part where the T-Rex has come through the fence. That's where we are right now. The thing is, below them is like a 5-story drop. It's like 100 plus feet. And it's like, there's no way the T-Rex as we saw it before was like on its legs. That's how it got through the fence. But now you're telling me there's a fucking giant, there's a huge drop right there. That continuity it doesn't make any sense. They're like, oh, I know what they did it for the scene because it'd be cool. But in hindsight, it's like, oh, this is a huge oversight. It's too bad because it's a really cool scene. But it's like, yeah, that's one. It's like, it's too bad. But still, I mean, I love the movie anyway. But it's like, yeah, that's a good critique. That's a continuity critique, and it deserves it. Lord Lockett just started, welcome this ground class in the rain. Duh. Okay. And all the trees are just perfectly planned there and everything. No, it makes perfect sense. And so eventually, the T-Rex is just constantly trying to get the car, but it's nudging it off the thing. And Alan and Lex, they're like, oh, shit, we just got to go backwards. And so they grab onto one of the wires that was ripped. But the T-Rex like breaking through, even though it couldn't have broken through. And so they're like climbing down. Lex, and he's trying to climb down, but the car's also about to drop on me. She's like, okay, you got to grab the other wire that's right next to me. He goes, oh, missed, God damn it. God damn it, gotta get this third time, we're gonna die. And she grabs him in the last, and she grabs the chat, and the little Timmy car just, whoa, he just falls. Timmy's just screaming. He crashes in the trees. Lex is like, Timmy! And eventually they climb down to her, no food for me. And he ain't a lawyer, so that's fine. That's fine. And eventually he climbs down, Chad. He climbs all the way down. And they go down to like a little storm pipe. He's like, Lex, you gotta stay here. You gotta stay in the little storm pipe thing. This is happening too. We cut back to Newman. Everyone's freaking out at this point because John Hammond, he's like, this is really bad. This is really bad. Like Sam Jan, like they finally go over to Nedry's or Newman's desk, and they figured out that he initiated this system-wide shutdown for some reason. They don't understand it. And they're like and they keep like Sam Jackson keeps putting in passwords to override it, but he goes, you didn't say the magic word. He's like, please, like they can't get in there. And John Hammond's like, fuck, oh god. And that Laura Dern, she shows back up too, and he asks Muldoon, he's like, Muldoon, can you please go out there and bring me back my grandchildren? He goes, sure, I can do that for you. Muldoon, good guy Muldoon. And Laura Dern's like, I'm gonna go with him too. And they go out there, Chad, they go out there, and eventually, like, Johnny was like, what the fuck is Newman? And then, Chad, we come back to Newman, and this son of a bitch, Chad, he's driving his fucking pouring rain, but he wasn't paying attention because he fucking keels over the goddamn precipice, Chad, the goddamn cliff. He gets his car all tangled up and shit. He's like, ow! But he gets out, he's like, God damn it, the car's stuck. But he sees Chad just down the way, just a mile to the dock. He's so close to the boat, he's like, fuck! But he takes the wench. He has a wench, he's like, I'll just unstick myself. And he goes down there, he's about to go down there, and he goes, whoa! And he slips. He slips, and you even have that little slip effect, like a little banana peel effect. Goes, go! And he tumbles all the way down there, Chad. Tumbles all the way down there, and he's like, my glasses! Where are my glasses? He pulls a fucking Velma. He's like, oh, fuck it, I can buy more glasses. And he goes over to this big tree, and he's like, so physical activity's hard. And he hears like a, whoa. He's like, what the fuck was that? Whoa. Fuck it. And he just goes around the tree, gets the wench in there, and he turns around. It's a fucking Dilophosaurus shit. He's like, oh, hello, little dinosaur. He goes like, whoa. And he's like, oh, you want food? I don't have any food. I don't have any food on me. He's like, you're fucking food, Newman. And he doesn't know that yet. And he's like, here, fucking stick. You see the stick? Look at the stick. Gotta fetch a stick. Get stick, stupid stick. Go get it. He's like, God damn. The officer's like, fuck. I don't want a stick. I want you, big boy. And he's like, no wonder you would extinct. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna hit you. I love this line. I'm gonna hit you as I drive down. I love that. And he goes up there, Chad. He's climbing up. But then Newman hears the whoa. And he turns around to the Dilophosaurus. He goes, oh, shit. And the thing just goes, and he goes, and it shoots the splooge. The splooge gets on Newman. She's like, oh. And it gets on. He's like, oh. And he climbs all the way back up there. Then he hears one more, whoa. He turns around, splooge in Newman's eyes. He goes, ah! And Newman's eyes are literally melting and falling out of his skull as we speak, Chad. Literally falling out of his skull. And he fucking, no! He trips, Chad, and the Barbasol can, the fucking chief can, falls out of his pocket. And it tumbles down the waterfall. But Newman doesn't know this. And he's like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And he tries to get inside the car, Chad. He closes. He's like, no! Oh, woo! But he hears the chat, woo, and he turns around, and this thing eats him. This is like a little Velociraptor, chat, and there's a whole lot of Newman in that car, and so you know that was a slow, painful death, but he fucking deserves it for the shit he did, Chad. The shit he did, he deserved to die slowly and to have his eyeballs melted from his skull. And then we see the Barbasol can, Chad, it's covered in the muck, much like a dinosaur, Chad, from the earth from whence it came. And funny enough, in the Jurassic Park Telltale game, you actually, that's the plot of the game, that's the MacGuffin. You go after that Barbasol can. Somehow you find it later on. And you find Newman's torn apart fucking body in the car later on. It's cool. It's one cool part of that game. So he's fucking dead. But meanwhile, chat, we cut back to fucking Sam Neill. Sam Neill, and he tells Lex to stay in the pipe, and I'm gonna go get your brother who's stuck in the tree. And so he climbs up the fucking tree, chat, and he finds little Timmy. And this is a very, like, Spielberg does a very good job of directing children. He was very well known for it throughout his career, including here. Because when Sam Neill, Sam Neill's like, he's trying to, he's like, hey, buddy, I'm sorry you just had, like, the most traumatic moment of your life just happened. We got to get going. And the one thing on Timmy's mind is like, I threw up. And Sam Neill's like, oh, that's okay. Everyone throws up sometime. It's like, I won't tell anybody. Like, that's Timmy's concern. It's like, don't tell anyone I threw up. It's such a kid thing. It's such a kid thought. Because you're embarrassed when that happens. You're like, oh, I'm in trouble because I threw up. It's like, don't worry about it. I'm just going to reach in and I'm going to get you out. We're going to get going. And the thing, he turns the wheel. He's like, oh, shit. He's like, come on, let's go. He gets him. They're making their way down the tree, but then the tree starts fucking cracking, and the car comes. Tim, we gotta get moving. And so they start going down there. Chetty drops him. He's like, all right, but the fucking car just keeps coming, just falling through all the branches. And he's like, Tim, run! But then he sees the car. Oh, the kid's he's gonna get crushed by the fucking tree. He goes, Tim, watch out! He fucking grabs the kid, and boom! And the car lands on top of him, chat. But it was the part where the T-Rex made a hole. And Tim has a great line. It's like, well, we're back in the car. And Dr. Alan Grant's like, yep, we did. And so eventually, he takes the kids, he takes Timmy back to Lex, and she's like, oh, Timmy! They hug, and she's like, okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here. They hear the T-Rex. Let's get moving and grooving. They get moving. Eventually, we cut back up to the T-Rex paddock, where Laura Dern and Muldoon have showed up, and they're just screaming. She's like, Alan! Alan! And Dr. Grant! And no one gives a shit about Ian Malcolm or Gennaro. No one cares. And eventually they come to the ruins of the bathroom, and Muldoon has a great line. It's like, I think this was Gennaro. And Laura Dern goes, I guess she sees the aftermath of the toilet. She goes, yeah, I think it was. And eventually they hear like a, and it's like, I know that, and they see an injured Jeff Goldblum, chat. He's made a tourniquet for his leg, which is bleeding profusely. And he's like, I hate being right. But I love being right, but in this case, I hate it. Get me the fuck out of here. And they lift him up, and they hear that T-Rex is howling. And they put him in, and he's like, listen, they went over the edge. And they go over there. It's like, they're down there. And she goes down there. And he's like, Alan! But she sees that, there's these footprints, so they wandered off into the jungles of the Costa Rica island. And she's like, shit. And it's like, I can't find them. We don't have time. And so she climbs back up somehow very quickly. And they go off. They like, maybe we can go around and get him. And Jeff Goldblum's like, don't leave me. And he's like, fuck it. And then we just sit with Jeff Goldblum, which is great. I always love sitting with Jeff Goldblum. But then we hears the boom, boom, and he looks down the water, and the same thing when they saw the T-Rex. He's like, fuck, oh God, oh Jesus. And he's like, come on, we gotta get going. And we just see Laura Dern and Muldoon, chat, just doing a Tom Cruise run, and the T-Rex is right behind them. Like, we gotta get going, come on. And they go get in the car, and they're fucking speeding away, and this thing is right on their goddamn heels, chat. Literally on Jeff Goldblum's heels. He's like, must go faster. And we get that iconic moment of Muldoon looking into the mirror, chat. Objects in the mirror closer than appear, and you see the T-Rex just roaring, and it's just about to eat the amazing shot, amazing filmmaking. And he's like, must go faster. And it's fucking whacks the guy. Laura Dern also has an incredible scream. Ah! Up there of Lex's screen. Eventually, like, oh, fucking, like, Juggalos like, fuck, and he's, like, sitting on the shift. He's like, you're shit on the goddamn stick, get off the stick. Eventually, they do get away, Chad, and they leave the T-Rex behind. Mr. Lowry, thank you for the 100 biddies. Good to see you here, man. Sorry I missed you before. Just in the middle of the movie review. It's been awesome. It's been so much fun. And so we got to get the fuck out of here. And so eventually, they speed off. And then we cut back to, what's his name? Goddamn Alan Grant and the kids. And they eventually like, okay, we got to spend the night somewhere. They go up a tree. They're going to relax for a bit. Bad Shields. Thank you for the 5 biddies. Taco Me Jeff Goldblum is my spirit animal. Me too, man. I love Jeff Goldblum. He's everyone's spirit animal. He's a person we need in all of our lives. He'd make it better. He would make it better. And you think they'll have that one, the tour? Another good line. Chat, some good whiskey. And so eventually, they go up a tree, and they're like, we just gotta sleep. We just gotta sleep here. Timmy starts doing dinosaur pun jokes, and Alan Grant's like, these are fucking dumb, but I'm gonna placate the kid and laugh at him. So also sitting on his little Velociraptor nail that he traumatized the fat boy with early in the movie. He's like, I don't need this anymore. Not gonna traumatize any more fat children in my life. Because he's bonding with these kids. Shay. He's like, I know now what it's like to be a father because I'm taking care of these kids in survival. It's primal. It's good shit. And eventually they're sleeping. And then we cut back to the park, and then we see fucking sad sack John Hammond just eating all the ice cream. And Laura Dern comes in and he's like, I'm eating the ice cream because it's all gonna melt. And I also feel really guilty. And she sits down, and he's like, when I fucking first got to Scotland, my first thing I had was a flea circus, and then fucking people would come and see my little flea circus, and his kids are like, oh, mommies, I see the flea, it's right there, but there'd be no goddamn fleas. And all my life, what I always wanted to do was create something that was real, something that people could see and touch and feel, and I had it at this park, and it would be my ultimate creation. Laura Dern's like, your creation's fucking eating people. He's like, but listen, I trusting Newman was the wrong thing. I know that now. But once we have control, Laura Dern's like, you never had control. It's obvious. Ian Malcolm we were all right. You don't know what the hell you're doing. He's like, no. He's like, it's true. He's like, I want to eat ice cream. And he eats ice cream. And Laura Dern, she eats the ice cream too. And eventually, we cut back to the fucking, Sam Neill and the kids, and they're woken up because we see some Brachiosauruses, Chad, and they're munching on some leaves. They're like, oh, Brachiosaurus, and there's one very close by, it's munching on a tree, and I'm like, whoa, and Lex is freaked out by it, but Sam Neill's like, it's okay, it's a herbivore, it's not gonna hurt you, and they give it some leaves, and it's like, yeah, it's eating the leaves, having a good time, they're petting it, and he's like, just think of it as a giant cow, and she's like, I like cows, and he's like, who, all right. And she's like, I want to touch it. And she's like, come back here. And the thing's like, fuck it. And he comes back there, and it fucking sneezes on her, covered in dinosaur mucus. She's like, ugh. It's like she swallows some. Oh, it's gross. And the kid, Timmy's like, Gesundheit. And Lex is like, you motherfucker. Eventually they come down the tree. And they get out of there, Chad. They're like, okay, we got to get back to the hub. And they're walking around, Chad, but fucking Sam Neill stops, and he's like, oh my god, holy shit. And he sees a nest of dinosaur eggs, Chad, and they've already hatched. He's like, oh my god. But Timmy's like, but didn't fucking BD Wan, who's gonna be the villain in like the future films, didn't he say that all the dinosaurs are female? And he goes, yep, but Ian Malcolm was right, because I just realized now that frogs can change their sex when they're in a same-sex environment so they can reproduce. And these fucking morons combine dino DNA with frog DNA to create literal monsters. And so these dinosaurs are just changing their sex willy-nilly, and they're fucking and shooting out babies. It's like, oh god, this is horrible. This is not good. They've never been in control. And they go off, chat. Eventually, we cut back to the park, and Sam Jackson, he's saying, yeah, I can't get Jurassic Park online. This is not good. Like, nothing's working. And John Hammond's like, well, why don't we shut everything down? Sam Jackson's like, I don't know if we should do that. We shut everything down. Like, everything could be down. Like, we'll have no control over anything. And he's like, it's the only thing we can do to get through Newman's fucking goddamn firewall. He's like, fuck shit. All right, fine. And Sam Jackson, he shuts everything down, and he boots it back up. He's like, hold on to your butts. And he does that, chat. And the thing is, like, okay, it worked. It got to the firewall, but we need to power Jurassic Park back up. And he's like, we can't do it from here. We got to go out to the goddamn tool shed, the fucking underground electric compound to turn this shit on. And John Hammond's like, okay, Samuel L. Jackson, you go out there and do that. Everyone else who is white shall go into the basement to stay safe. Goodbye, fellow brown man. What did I tell you early, chat? What did I tell you early? If you're white, you're gonna be like John Hammond. That's what decides this. He goes by this mantra, chat. If you're white, you're gonna be all right. If you're brown, you're going down. He lives and swears by that, sadly, chat. And he says that's the last time we see. Well, technically, it's not the last time we see Samuel L. Jackson. We do see a part of Samuel Jackson later on. This is the last time he has any fucking speaking lines in it. And I'm sorry, Patrice Graphics. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And so they go in the basement, and eventually Samuel Jackson, he goes out there, and like they wait for like a very long time, and they're like, okay, what the fuck is taking so goddamn long? And it's like, it's been like an hour. Laura Dern, and like Muldoon's like, we gotta go out there. We gotta go see what's happening. And Laura Dern's like, I'll come too. And John Hammond, he's like, but you are a woman and I'm a man. I should be doing this. And she's like, we could talk about sexism and shit later on. We gotta save my fucking boy toy and your grandchildren. She goes out there, Muldoon. And Muldoon, he like gets the shotgun. He's like, I don't know what the fuck's out there, but I'm cocking and loading this big bad boy. And he goes out there. And they pass by the raptor paddock, and it's like, yep, bust it open. He's like, fuck. That is not good. That's not good. And we get like a really cool scenes here, chat, where they're making their way to the basement power source, I guess, you know. And she's like, it's right over there. And Muldoon's like, we can't get over there. And she's like, why not? And he's like, this actor, I think he died relatively young. Like, he didn't, let me look up this actor. But I think Bob Peck. Yeah, he died 1999, Chad. Yeah, I know what he died of, but he did a great job in this role. And he says it's because her being hunted. She goes, oh God. She's like, listen, you have to fucking run. I see where this Velociraptor is. I'm looking at it right now. You have to get over there because they're going to come for me. Like, Muldoon, like, he sacrificed himself. Okay, he doesn't get enough credit. He's like, fucking run. And she just, I mean, it's very tense. She just, we get ugly, like, running Laura Dern. Just, she runs over there, chat. She busts down there. And she gets there. She's safe. And we just see Muldoon just creeping into that jungle. Eventually, we cut back to Sam Neill and the kids. And they're in this open field. And we get, sadly, what's the worst CGI in the movie. Because, you know, CGI, I mean, again, this film's effects were ahead of its day. There's no doubt about it. This is the best CGI we ever gotten at this point, but in the daytime it's a little rough, and we see this kind of herd of gallimimuses, or the fuck they're called. These very kind of egg-eating dinosaurs, and we see a herd of them running. It's like, yeah, it doesn't look too good. They're like, oh, we don't want to get stampeded, and they hide behind a log chain, and the Tyrannosaurus like, hi, everybody, and it just eats one of the gallimimuses, Chad, just munches on it, and they're like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. They skedaddle, Chad, they skedaddle. Eventually, we cut back to Laura Dern, and she's being pointed in the direction of where she needs to go in this underground, like, fucking electricity compound. And fucking John Hammond's fucking up. Jen goes, give me the goddamn map. I'll do it. He's like, you gotta go down this way. Eventually, Laura Dern, she gets to where she's going. She's like, okay, beep, bop, and boop. And she beeps, bops, and boops, chat. She beeps, bops, and boops everything. And she's like, okay, yeah, let's go down the list of things. And eventually, and this is like all happened at the same time, we cut back to Sam Neill and the kids, and they're right at the electric fence, like right near the hub. And I'm like, oh shit, we just gotta climb over the fence, we'll be okay. And Sam Neill fucks with them. He's like, I'm gonna test if it's okay, kids. And he throws like a piece of wood. And it's like, I guess it's fine. And he touches, he goes, ah! And he goes like, ah! Girl screaming. He's like, I'm not, it's fine, don't worry about it. He's like, fuck you, Sam Neill, we're traumatized. Whatever. Get your asses up there. And they start climbing all this up, chat. But then, Laura Dern, she's beeping and bopping all the buttons. And all the way at the very last one, fucking electrical fence. And that's what these kids are climbing on right now. And she's touching all this thing. And eventually we cut back and forth. And eventually, Sam Neill and, the Lex are the last ones off, but then the electric fence, like, a warning light comes on. It's like beep bop beep boop, and he's like, you gotta jump, Tim, you gotta jump. He's like, I'm scared. It's like, if you don't jump, you will die. And then Chase like, okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, and right when Laura Dern presses that fucking button, fucking little Timmy goes, pooh, he just shoots off of that thing. 10,000 volts shoot through this little kid's body, like under 100 pounds, like 90, 85, maybe 80 pounds at most, shoots out like a fucking rocket. And Sam Neill catches this kid who's on fire practically. Hair looks like a goddamn Super Saiyan, chat. And he's like, he's not breathing. You gotta do like mouth to mouth. He does, whoa, the mouth to mouth. And little Timmy's okay. He just aged 25 years. You just took off 25 years of his life, Laura Dern, but at least he's alive now. And he's like, whoo, you're okay. You just got a Super Saiyan hairdo. But I think it looks cool. Dragon Ball Z, very popular during this time, little Timmy. And then we cut back to Laura Dern. She has that line, oh, Josh! Josh and the 2 gifted subs. Thank you so much, good sir. I appreciate that. Thank you for your generosity. Welcome to stream. Join Praise and Lord Locke. You're now the privilege of finding new ones along with ad-free viewing. And then we get, hope you're doing well today, Josh. Good to see you. Thank you again for the support. Then we get another great line where Laura Dern's like, oh, Mr. Hammond, I think we're back in business. And then Velociraptor goes, hi. She's like, oh. And the Velociraptor's trying to get her, chat. trying to get to the wires, bursts on through. She's running away from this fucking thing, closing the fucking chain link fence. It's like, just trying to get at her, chat. This Velociraptor. She's like, oh, fuck, oh, shit. And she backs to this wall, chat. But, oh, thank God, the hand of Samuel L. Jackson just, hey, girl, I got you. It's okay. She goes, oh, Samuel L. Jackson, it's so good to see you. And she turns around, and she, like, has this fucking severed arm. It's like, what did I tell you, chat? If you're brown, you're going down, sadly. And she's like, oh, Sam, no! And she drops it, and she just gets the fuck out of there, chat. She just does the Tom Cruise run, trying to run back to the hub. She busts out of there, and she keeps on running. Meanwhile, we see what happened to Darkslayer. Always a pleasure to see you. We're back to Muldoon, chat, and he's hunting. He's hunting this. He sees the big girl right there. He's like, I see you, bitch. I know what you're doing. He starts to get he's pouring sweat, chat, pouring sweat. And he's getting the gun ready. He's like cocking. He's like, oh, I'm going to get you, motherfucker. And then, chat, he didn't expect this, but we should have listened to Alan Grant. Had Muldoon been that chubby, sarcastic, fat kid at the end of the movie, like in the beginning of the movie, he would have known this would happen. Because it's the strategy we talked about earlier, chat. His use of distraction. He's looking at this one, but he didn't see the one to his fucking right. And he just goes over, he's like, clever girl. Wah! And it starts eating his face, chat. It's just, what did I tell you? It's like a fucking bear. They don't give a shit. They're not going to go for the jugular. They just start eating him. So, Muldoon, badass character, sacrifice, like, helped so many people. I mean, he just squeals. he has like an Oberyn Martell death chat. Just squeal. What you would if you're getting your face eaten by a velociraptor. We all would be. We all would be. And he was the hunter. Funny enough, he also lives in the book. He actually survives, but he dies here. And I read the original book. The movie's much better, but it's kind of sad that he dies. He's a cool character. And so Laura Dern, she's like, oh god. Eventually, we cut back to Sam Neill. He drops the kids off at a buffet. Eat all the food. And they're like, they're eating all the food. Chat, having a good time. And eventually, he's like, guys, are you here? And we see Laura Dern. She's ugly, crying. Oh, God, Sam Neill. And she fucking jumps on. They start smooching and rubbing. And they have the sex chat in the middle of the park. They just start having the sex. And eventually, though, we cut back to the kids, the children chat. And they're eating all the good food. And they're like, I'm having a great time. But then little old Lex, she sees something behind Timmy. And she goes, she's eating some Jell-O. And he's like, whoa. What's wrong? And then we see the fucking shadow of the Velociraptor. And he goes, fuck me. Come on. I'm eating pudding pie. I'm eating some good old fucking lemon meringue pudding pie. Fuck. All right, let's run. And so they get out of there, chat. The Velociraptors are in the hub. They're in the hub right now. And they're trying to get away. And then we get another incredible sequence. Mr. Lowry! With the 150 minutes. See, Chris doesn't just mention a dude dying. He describes the graphic details. Of course I do. I have to tell you. That's what you get. What did I tell you, chat? Scene by scene by scene by scene breakdown, all right? I give you all the gory details. Eventually, we get to one of the best parts in the film, and it's the kitchen sequence. And little Lex and little Timmy, they run into the kitchen chat. And these Velociraptors, like Laura Dern, they go back to John Hammond, and they're like, oh yeah, they're eating buffet or some shit. And they're like, so but what about the other Velociraptor that you locked in the fucking electricity power generator room? She's like, it's locked in there unless they know how to open doors. And then chat, we cut to the kitchen, and these motherfuckers are opening doors. They're like, oh, that was easy. And they're like, oh, they're looking for those kids, chat. And little Lex and little Timmy, they are dodging, they're weaving, dipping, diving, and dodging out of these Velociraptors' way, trying to distract them. Eventually, they're just about to get little Timmy, but Lex is like, fuck it, and she's like baiting on some shit, and they're like, what the fuck? And they're like, and they see her, chat. They think they see her, and they're like, they're running right towards her, like, and she's like, she's trying to shut this like little shelf thingy, and they're like, we got you, bitch, and they hit the fucking thing. It was her reflection. They didn't realize it was her reflection, and she gets out of there. And little Timmy, he gets out of there too, and they're all running around and shit. And one Velociraptor goes for Timmy. He's like, and this thing runs right after him into this freezer. And the Velociraptor are like, what the fuck is this? They're all slipping, sliding. And they go in there, and little Timmy's like, fuck! And he closed the one door on him. And Lex just goes, She runs over, chat. And I love her little run, just like, little run. And she locks that little sucker in there. And they skedaddle. And eventually they run into Laura Dern and Sam Neill. And like, are you kids okay? Velociraptor like, shit, fuck, okay, let's get into the computer room. So they all run in there, chat. And they're like, okay, turn the fucking systems back on. Everything. And the Velociraptor's like, hi guys. And it's like, oh shit, it's trying to open the door. He's like, fuck, we gotta get the locks on. This thing's trying to get through. And Sam Neill and Laura Dern are holding the door. And thank God that little Lex is a hacker, chat. She's hacking her way into Jurassic Park. And so she goes in there. And she's like, oh, it's a fucking OS system. I don't know what the fuck she says. Computer shit. And I have access to all the files of Jurassic Park. And she bops and beeps and boops. Boom, she gets the file. Locks work, chat. Close the door. But the thing is, that was just a mild inconvenience for the Velociraptor. Like, whoo, they saved the day. Velociraptor's like, okay, but I see a thin layer of glass right here. I'm just gonna fucking burst right through this. And so Samuel's like, shit. He calls John Hammond. He's like, the phones are working. Your kids are okay. We gotta get there. But like, the glass. He's like, oh shit. Boom, boom, boom. He shoots at it. And John Hammond goes, Grant! But they drop this, like, he fucking fucks up the shotgun chassis. If Muldoon was there, he wouldn't have fucked it up. He wouldn't have, if he hadn't have his face eaten and shit. He fucks it up, bullet gets jammed. And so they get up into the vents, chat. They go up into the vents, and they're climbing. The Velociraptor's like, you fucking motherfuckers, I know you're up there. And eventually just like, he fucking pokes his head. It's like, hi guys. And Lex is on the top of the one that's, she's like, oh shit, what the fuck? And Grant just goes, bah, you motherfucker, you ma. And he kicks him in the face. And this thing goes, oh, fuck, and it falls down, and they grab Lex, like, get your ass up here, girl. A lot of them are like, trying to go for a chat, but eventually they're like, oh, yeah, I can fucking run. And eventually they end up into the main, foyer chat of the Jurassic Park hub, and they go out there and they grab onto all the fossils. On the dioramas. We gotta climb down, but the thing is, shit, the Velociraptors are right behind him. Like, we got two or something. We got two or three, and they're great to actually see when you see it like a wide shot. Everyone's on a different piece of the diorama on the fossils. They're all spinning around. The Velociraptors are on it too. And they're like, and they're trying to get them. And eventually, it all comes crumbling down. Everyone falls there. The group of, like, the fucking skeleton almost fucking impales little Timmy, but he makes it out, Chad. He's got a good survival instinct, that kid. Good at fight or flight. And they're all grouped together, but the Velociraptors, they're encircling them. They're like, yeah, we got you, motherfucker. And right before the Velociraptor's about to munch on pretty Sam Neill's face, the fucking T-Rex comes in there with the save, chat, and goes, and it bites the Velociraptor. It's like, whoa! The T-Rex, chat, is the hero of the movie. It comes in there and saves them, and T-Rex didn't give a fuck. I want to eat all you motherfuckers, but I want that thing first, because I can see what it's doing. And he eats the fucking Velociraptor, chat. No one's like, fuck you! And it goes out and jumps in the T-Rex's back, and Samuel's like, okay, guys, we gotta fucking skedaddle. And they run out. And John Hammond, he parked the fucking Jeep and got Jeff Goldblum, who's bleeding. I was like, I don't feel good, guys. we gotta go. And they get lulled in, and Samuel's a great line. He's like, Mr. Hammond, I have decided not to endorse your park. And Hammond goes, so have I. And they drive off. And eventually we come back to the auditorium area, chat. And the T-Rex grabs the last Velociraptor and just eats it. And then we see, just throws it, chat, hits a bunch of shit. And we get the moment where the T-Rex goes, just roars, and the banner, the frilled banner of, was like, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, and it falls down. It's an amazing shot. Oh, it's so good. And eventually we cut back to the helipad. Everyone's loading up in the helicopter, and we see John Hammond, just sad music, but looking at his creation, how it's falling apart, Chad. All of decades, probably decades of a dream, just completely collapsed around him. And Sam Neill Beck gets him, grabs him. We gotta go. And he gets in the helicopter, and he just looks out. He's looking at the fucking Amber and the mosquito, and fucking Jeff Goldblum, he's just passed the fuck out. He's like, I've lost a lot of blood. I don't feel good. And Laura Dern, she's just looking at Sam Neill. And we see Sam Neill and the kid, little Lex and little Timmy, they're just nuzzled into Sam Neill's, his arms. He's looking at two of them. Laura Dern's like, we're going to have a baby, as soon as we get off this helicopter. He goes, hell yeah, we are. And he looks out, chat, we see birds. We see the pelicans fly, pelican fly. We see these pelicans flying, chat. And it's like, there, that's the evolution. You see, we don't fuck with nature, okay? Or you get dinosaurs. And that, chat, that is the last scene. That is Jurassic Park. An incredible film. One I highly recommend checking out if you've not done so. Check it out again. It is worth the viewing, but it is an absolutely spectacular film. High full price. Better than sex. What am I talking about? Shame on me. Shame on me. Better than sex, chat. Better than sex. Not high full price. Better than sex. One of the greatest blockbusters of all time. Better than sex film.